What's going on YouTube? Today we're gonna cook one of my favorite easy go-to meals, and that's just gonna be a breakfast quesadilla. So without further ado, let's get into it. The way that I'm choosing to prep this meal today is gonna be using 1 egg as well as some egg whites. We're gonna have some reduced fat Mexican cheese, as well as low carb or carb balance mission tortillas. These are about 70 calories, so they're a little bit lower in calorie than your regular flour or corn tortillas. This meal is super easy, very quick, and requires very little cleanup, which is why I like to go to it. It's super simple, and you can even replace a lot of the ingredients. For example, I'm gonna use eggs today, but you can always replace it with turkey. You can do chicken. You can pretty much add whatever you want. It's gonna be low calorie, and for the most part, it's gonna have high protein so long as you're replacing the eggs with protein. And in my opinion, the quicker and simpler it is, the better off you are, because it's easy to sustain in the long term. And I'm gonna start this by prepping the eggs first, and I'm gonna grab a bowl, and I'm just gonna go ahead and pour 50 grams of egg whites into our bowl, as well as adding our egg into those egg whites. And if you choose to do so, you can also add 2 eggs as opposed to 1. You don't really need the egg whites. I'm using that because it's a little bit more calorie dense, but just make sure that you're accounting for those calories. For the most part, I've measured out a whole egg, and it's roughly 53 grams, so keep that in mind as you decide to prep this meal. And for 1 tortilla, I'm gonna be using 28 grams of our reduced fat Mexican style cheese. For the eggs, we're just gonna need our pan, and we're gonna make sure that the heat is medium to low, so that way we're not burning our eggs and cooking them too quickly. And I'm gonna use nonstick spray per usual. You can go ahead and use whatever thing you want to put on the pan to make sure that the eggs don't stick to the pan. But make sure you're including those calories whenever you're making this recipe. Eggs are done, so I'm gonna start with my tortilla now, and I'm gonna put that on the pan at a medium heat, so that way the one side cooks. And while that's happening, I wanna make sure that I evenly distribute cheese over 1/2 of the tortilla. We're gonna make sure that that cheese is nice and melted, so that way when it's on the tortilla and we add our eggs on top, everything is nice and perfectly cooked, because we wanna make sure that when we pull apart the tortilla, that the cheese is also kind of pulling apart as well. In order to do that, I would recommend putting a lid over top of our pan to make sure that the cheese is melting, and that'll definitely help. And if you don't have a lid, don't worry, you can always just use a plate or something along that line to make sure that the top of the pan is nice and covered, so that way the steam melts the cheese. And once our cheese is nice and melted, we're just gonna take the egg, put it over top of the cheese, and fold the tortilla over and let that cook for an extra 10 to 15 seconds. Just like that, we cooked ourselves a simple, easy 5-minute meal, and this has got tons of protein in it. It's gonna be really low calorie. I'll go ahead and post the macros somewhere down here, and that way you can see for yourself. And of course, what's a cooking video without the taste test? It definitely lives up to the hype. You can also add different things, right? So you're really not constrained by anything. You can add salsa, you can add bacon bits, you can add pretty much anything to it, and it's not gonna affect the calorie count very drastically. And you can also make more than one. You can make 2 or 3 and still have a relatively low calorie count, be super satiated, so that way you're fueled for your workouts throughout the rest of the day. Now you probably thought that I was trying to get away with one here. So to prove that I'm not a total scumbag, I'm actually gonna have Hannah try this as well. Hannah, you ready to try? Still a little hot.
10 out of 10.
Wow. I've never gotten higher than a 7 on this channel, so that means something. And because I'm doing this every single Thursday, be sure to drop a comment down below and let me know what it is you'd like to see me cook. I'm definitely open to new ideas and trying out different types of foods, so I'll go ahead and cook it. We'll have Hannah taste it, and we'll go ahead and see if your recipe lives up to the hype. So be sure to definitely try this recipe out. It's super easy, super simple, very convenient, very quick, checks all the boxes. So if you enjoyed today's video, definitely be sure to comment, like, and subscribe. I appreciate you for making it this far, and I'll see you all at the next one.